Born humbly in 1580, John Smith was the son of a poor tenant who held farmland in Lincolnshire. At 15, the boy was apprenticed to Thomas Sandal, a wealthy merchant. He found this too dull and, after the death of his father in 1596, went abroad as a soldier of fortune, meeting his first action in the Low Countries. In 1601, he joined the Austrians as a volunteer against the Turks. Ferocious and merciless fighters who in the 16th century had threatened the very gates of Vienna, the Turks were generally regarded as the chief threat to European civilization. No wonder John Smith found in them suitable enemies.
Smith was known for killing and beheading Ottoman challengers in single duel combats. Due to his skill and experience, he was knighted by Prince of Transylvania and given a horse. His coat of arms were three Turk heads which he had beheaded in one-on-one battles. In 1602, Captain John Smith was wounded in battle and as a result captured and claimed as a slave by a Turkish nobleman. He was sent to a Greek mistress as a gift, but then moved to Crimea, where he had a cruel owner. Smith was able to kill his owner and escape to Moscow, then Lithuania, traveling through Europe, until eventually in 1604 returning to England. The man who had returned had bold leadership skills, discipline, negotiation skills, military experience, and determination. He proved to be a valuable asset in England's efforts to an American empire. He was immediately granted a charter by King James to colonize Virginia. He had boasted in his writings, "The wars in Europe, Asia, and Africa taught me how to subdue to the wild savages in America." The expedition took off in December of 1606, and until the summer of 1607, the colonists were still searching for a suitable environment in Virginia, until the president of the council, Captain Edward Maria Wingfield, chose Jamestown. Soon after their arrival, Smith and Captain Newport went to explore the river for a way to the Pacific Ocean. On their way, they met with the Powhatan Indians and dined with them. Smith met Paramount Chief Wuhon Sonokok, who ruled all the Powhatans. Further down the line, the swampy environment of Jamestown proved to be unsuitable. They had finished all their sources of food, and they were limited to a cup of grain meal per day. By September of 1607, 60 out of the 104 colonists had died due to starvation and disease. On his expedition in the December of 1607, Smith was captured and taken to an Indian local chief. The Indians regarded anything they did not understand as supernatural, and Smith had to show them his worth, so he decided to show them his compass. The Indians were intrigued, and then they kept moving him from village to village until he eventually got to the chief. The Indians laid his head between two rocks. Smith assumed he was going to be beaten. Here, Smith described that Pocahontas protected him and saved him from his death by covering him with her body, which pop culture assumed and twisted into a love story. Today, we presume that it was a ritual to show the Powhatan's power over the colonists. By October 1608, Virginia Company in England kept sending shipments filled with settlers instead of food. And with the influx of settlers arriving, food sources became scarce, and Smith had to intervene with his leadership skills. Smith was forced to obtain food from the Indians with sheer intimidation and utilizing military force for them to obey. And after he had become president of the council, Smith started enforcing discipline in the colonists. He had threatened those who were not working that they will not receive food unless they work. The situation improved gravely. He was harsh in treatment, however, he ensured the stability of the colony. He taught the colonists military skills and he ordered hunters to eat meager rations. He ensured that settlers were spending less time looking for gold and more on building shelters and finding necessities. He guided the colony for years, and without him it wouldn't have survived. In 1609, Smith suffered an injury from a gunpowder accident trying to light up his pipe, which caused him to return to England. He also learned about Pocahontas' arrival in England, and thus he informed Queen Anne that she was a friend of the Virginia settlement, and Pocahontas was treated like a princess, respected and received in the Queen's court.
Captain John Smith did a lot of exploring in his day. He was one of the first colonists to discover Massachusetts, which was all the way back in 1614 when he was forced out of Jamestown because he was unpopular among the other colonists. He did keep records of his time and his travels during that time, which was later published in a document titled A Description of New England. In this document, he did list things that he gathered along the way, including supplies and information. During this time, his lieutenants that were with him had been capturing slaves, Native American slaves, and taking them back to Europe. One of these Native Americans turned out to be Squanto, who was freed a few years after and returned to New England just to find out his entire village was wiped out clean. Smith attempted to return to New England in 1615, but then he was hit by a storm, and the only way he could escape was through a lifeboat, which he ended up washing up on shore, half unconscious.
Captain Smith is mentioned in history as a man of great vision, but some see him as a controversial figure. He is considered a hero because he established America's first colony, but for his actions a lot of people suffered. Smith is known to lie many times regarding his voyage in America and how he treated the colonies. While he was sailing towards America in 1607, he was arrested by his crew for mutiny, but luckily nothing happened to him because they arrived in Virginia and he claimed leadership among 7 others to lead the colonies. Many historians believe that he lied and exaggerated about his role in establishing the colony in order to overshadow the other leaders and magnify his own role. Smith was known for his brilliant communication tactics with the native Indian, especially their chief Powhatan. He was captured by Powhatan in 1607 while he was trying to establish a settlement, and somehow made alliance with the tribes to support them by supplying food. The alliance didn't last, and they had conflicts, and there was war, and Smith was forced to flee. A lot of people think that he exaggerated with his encounter with Powhatan, specifically the story where it involves his daughter Pocahontas. Well, he said that Pocahontas saved his life by jumping in front of him while they were trying to kill him, but many historians believe that that's not true because Pocahontas was actually very young, 11 years old, and there are no mentioned documents about that. The only document that is verified is Smith's own memorial, which he wrote 10 years after that. Smith's action will not be tolerated in society today. But that's not to say that they will be tried at all, because there are liars in our society. Essentially, there are politicians and countries that are doing the same thing that Smith was doing, lying and planning to take someone else's home and reap the benefit for themselves. However, we should all reconsider calling Smith a hero in the future, and also reconsider his action and the effects it had on many individuals.